Hi, thanks for listening to Crafting Human and being part of our creative tribe. If this conversation resonates with you, please share the episode. Liking and subscribing helps me to keep telling the stories of the creatives who bring soul into our world. If you want me to dive deeper on anything discussed today, let me know in the comments. I'd love to bring those conversations to you in future episodes. Now, on with the show. Hi, welcome to another episode of Crafting Human. Today's guest is Will Ayers, designer, creative director, and founder of Found, a Los Angeles headquartered studio that is reimagining wayfinding, signage, and environmental graphics through technologies like GPS, haptics, autonomous systems, and AI. With over 2 decades of global experience and training that includes a master's from Cranbrook Academy of Art, Will's work asks a very timely question. How can design help us feel more oriented in our cities, our systems, and ourselves, especially as technology accelerates? I'm very excited to discuss with him today how emerging technologies can be deployed not to overwhelm us, but to make environments feel more intuitive, more humane, and more deeply felt. Welcome to Crafting Human, Will.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you.
Always good to see you as well. Before we get into all of this super cool stuff that you're working in and all the technology that you're incorporating into your creative practice, I want to just take our listeners to, who you are and how you, came into, launching your own company and opening the studio. And can you tell us a little bit
Sure.
about your background and
Sure, absolutely.
what shaped who you are today and your perspectives in design?
Absolutely. So, quite a few different aspects to my background. I was born here in LA. I have quite a bit of educational background. I have an undergrad from the University of San Diego, so I lived there for a little while. I studied in Italy for half a year,
Yeah.
so learned craft,
Yeah.
fashion, language, art
Yeah.
history there.
Yeah.
A lot changed after living in Italy, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Came back, studied a little bit at RISD and Mass Art. I was preparing for grad school. I was honored to be accepted at Cranbrook Academy of Art, which I spent 2 years, and worked in a couple design studios, and then started Found almost about 8 years ago now.
Okay. Was design always part of your your DNA, do you think?
I think so, yes. My parents have some funny stories about me when I was young and being very organized with certain things. My mother is a Bartholdi, and as some of the world knows,
Well,
Frederick,
for those who don't know, can you share?
Frederick Bartholdi designed the Statue of Liberty, and so I have some lineage back to some great craftspeople.
Okay,
he was an
well,
artist.
that's amazing. Like making a mark in the world with the Statue of Liberty is
Yeah,
in your lineage.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Wow. I mean, what a sense of pride in that,
Yeah, I've done fashion, my background
Yeah.
as well, and did spend a lot of time in Paris, and definitely felt connections back to him there.
Okay, so this was not on the list of questions, but I have to ask, like, what did having and knowing that kind of heritage and kind of generational connection, how did that kind of maybe like empower you or fill you with, just the confidence to move forward in design?
I'm not sure. I think it's affected me at different parts of my life. My mom is very humble about it. She's very
Sure.
talented and creative in her way. I think once I knew probably more in my undergrad that I wanted to be in design, I didn't know how and what capacity. Undergrad was photography and graphics, and I was making furniture and doing all these different kinds of design things. I didn't
Yeah.
know what part of design, but I always, I guess, knew in the back of my head that Bartholdi was in my blood in a certain way, and so
Yeah.
I think it's just been very. I don't tell many people,
Sure.
just because it's just my history, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I think
knowing
it's always
that
been.
history, don't you think it's kind of, I mean, in a way, it's sort of in the subconscious part of like how we evolve and grow into like what we develop, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I hope the work that our studio does helps make the world more beautiful, a better
Yeah.
place, and hopefully some of that is in my DNA. And so I feel confident in the
Mm-hmm.
work that we do for the world and the
Mm-hmm.
clients that hire us that have that. So I think just more I guess humbly just
Yeah.
know that it's in the DNA somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just sparking this little moment, a memory of something that I just saw at the Santa Barbara Museum of Art last week. And it's this exhibition about Monet and Matisse in
Hmm.
the Impressionist era with kind of how that Impressionism emerged at the time of modernism. But do you know that that's when the Statue of Liberty was also being made in
Oh,
that time
interesting.
period?
Interesting.
I actually took a photo of the art piece that shows people walking through that space where
Oh,
it was
wow.
being
Oh,
fabricated.
wow.
I'm going to have to send it to you later after this show.
Absolutely. Well, and it would just a side note is everyone hated it. I mean, it wasn't really going. I mean, sorry. He also worked with Eiffel for the Eiffel Tower,
Yeah.
and the Eiffel was hated, and he Bartholdi tried to sell the Statue of Liberty to different countries. It was going to be in Africa. It was
Oh,
supposed to be in the main park in New York.
yeah.
So it was an interesting background
It's funny
of
because I
that.
actually read that as I was walking through that exhibit that people did not like the Impressionism at the time, Impressionist art
Yeah.
at the time. So, anyway, it's a complete sidebar of our conversation, but fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. Um, well, I'd love to kind of go back to, you said 8 years ago you found, which I love
Yes.
the name of your company, especially
Thank
given what
you.
you're doing.
Thank you.
Um, what did you notice in the world, or maybe in the ways in which you were working in graphics and design and
Hmm.
environmental sort of aspects? What did you notice that you felt was missing, and what was the
Hmm.
gap that led to you creating your own
Sure,
company?
sure. So, worked for some great studios before. I think probably the biggest change I saw was technology. So, signage and wayfinding
Mm,
traditionally, kind of way back didn't really exist at all. People just kind of found their way.
yeah,
When projects got larger, people needed to find their way. Identity and graphics were, a lot of times handled by architects.
yeah,
And so there was, kind of the evolution of it. It could be got more and more refined
yeah.
globally. And then as I saw technology coming into play of how people actually navigate. So one of the things that really prodded me was the Waze app had come out, and people were using
Mm,
that to
mm-hmm.
navigate themselves versus maybe looking at signs
Yeah,
around cities, which are now kind of disappearing. Cars are driving themselves now, so even less that you need any of that. So that was probably a lot. Some of my craft side from Cranbrook, I think, was probably the other half of wanting to just create really beautiful art, graphic design,
mm-hmm.
and then also heavy tech. So I think that's where Found and Haptics, the new company, is sitting between this craft and tech. And so that's probably the 2 points
Okay.
that we saw.
It's so interesting because people don't always think about art and the like this like integration of technology as a way of innovation. So was there a moment in which you thought, yeah, this is, you just said, did you have like an intuitive feeling like this is it? Like this is the way in which I want to move forward and the niche space that I want to get into?
I mean, some of it kind of goes back, as we were talking earlier about the 10,000 hours, and
Yeah.
you know, I was in the industry for a while. I didn't know I would end up in the graphic signage world. I had been, and so there was definitely a lot of talent there that I thought, you know, maybe a new studio, I could offer something new.
Yeah.
So
And what's interesting to me is that, with your art, fashion, and craft background, and then with technology, there's kind of this like, it seems like they're opposed,
yes,
in the sense of the emotional connection you get through art and craft. And then you have like technology, which can feel very like void of
yes,
any of that human
yes,
aspects.
yes.
Um, Was there ever a moment where you felt like I want to I want to figure out how to make the two work? Because really, kind of in these like two spaces that seem disconnected,
Hmm.
when you can cross pollinate, that's where that innovation really comes out.
Right, right. Yeah, it's an interesting point. So, I mean, if we go back in kind of pre-tech with signage wayfinding per se, everything was static. You
Yeah.
know, and the digital signage came out. Obviously, you go to the airport, things are dynamic. So that kind of came out. But yeah, the more we've moved to screen-focused design, I think the less we've gotten back to the craft and the understanding. I mean, when you look at websites, they all kind of look the same now. The phone designs are the same. Everything's becoming kind of same. And when you're in that screen world, it becomes kind of void of some of this, craft and art. And so
Yeah.
I think the world still struggles with it. We still struggle with it. How to uh, give this new digital world that we're in more personality, more character, more
Yeah.
more craft.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, and what I'm really appreciating of what you're saying is just this honesty of like we're still struggling with how to make it feel like the digital side to be the means in which we can feel more connected, but somehow it feels like we're still like I feel like the struggle just feels even more acute
Yes.
now than it has even when it first emerged. So before we actually kind of talk about that, I wanted to maybe talk about like the physical world that you are working in,
Sure.
and I know, so much of what you do with the graphics and the branding and signage, even with like the wayfinding, you know, it's about placemaking, storytelling,
Hmm.
identity,
Hmm.
and in that, how have you? Like, how do you can you take us through the process in which, what are all those
Sure.
considerations
Sure.
in the kind of the real world, right?
Sure. Yeah. So on that side of our business, we've worked a lot. So primarily, most of our business is in California. During kind of the last boom, we worked a lot with the tech companies,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to tell their story either to the outside world or to their own staff internally.
Yeah.
And so we've had the opportunity and blessed working with some amazing people to really look at the entire interior environment,
Yeah.
primarily in this particular case of storytelling, and working with them, trying to extract from their brand. Sometimes the brands are very clear and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Some brands, these startups, some of these AR stuff, they have no idea. So we
Uh-huh.
really help create the brand for them,
Oh, okay.
and create these stories and working with them. So a lot is heavily integrated with the architecture. So instead of maybe just having a room sign here and a wayfinding sign, we really try to look at the whole environment,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the project. But the core really comes back to kind of the place,
Yeah.
the culture, the people, and then we tell the story from there.
Yeah.
So none of our work really has ever been duplicated within our own studio.
Mm-hmm.
We always create something from scratch,
Yeah.
and that's always the core that we start from. The place, if it's the city, if it's the sub area,
Mm-hmm.
who's using it,
Mm-hmm.
and we delve in very 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 deep into that. So the
Mm-hmm.
story is intuitive, it feels comfortable, and it's right
Yeah.
for that particular audience.
Can you give an example, maybe, or share an example of maybe one of like your tech clients you've had where they were like, "Whoa, this is they just sort of have this epiphany or maybe like a paradigm shift in like what they're seeing from what you've designed?
We've had lots of interesting pitches and
Uh-huh.
feedback.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes we'll kind of go over here and they'll like it and love it, and we go down that world.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too far. I mean, I would rather come up with something very, very creative, and then have to pull back if we need to.
Yeah.
I don't have an example on the top of my head.
Okay.
We have lots of different projects and backgrounds, but I don't have one in
Yeah.
particular. But yeah, I think we do our best to understand who's using the space, how how they want to use it, how we want to tell their story.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think, like, do you feel like there is a place for a lot of the kind of the graphics, the environmental design, the wayfinding and signage? Do you think that, or what do you think is its place in how we identify ourselves or connect to the space, just even as, human beings?
Yeah, I think, and we were talking a little bit earlier, I think there is a push for more craft. So Pharrell's latest show a couple days ago for his menswear show in Paris, he created a home within the show.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned that 10% had kind of human error.
Yeah.
And I thought it was brilliant, amazing, lovely. One example of a project that came to me is we had the same idea. It was a biotech office project, and so the main identity on the outside essentially had I think there was about like 80 different posts, and every single post was different, and it really was talking about this evolution, this change that certain sciences and technologies has tons of errors.
Yeah.
And you make that error and then you change. And so we definitely try to add that craft and art, because everyone can now make perfect letter sets and perfect arrows and perfect everything.
Yeah.
And now the whole world looks the same.
Yeah.
And so how do we
So
go
true.
back? Another project that we're working on now, we're making some sculpture rings, very simple, but they're complex curves in both directions, and essentially talking about a handcraft. Like, we all can make a perfect circle or an arc and stick it in a project. So
Yeah.
I think for us, I think we're pivoting even more with technology getting so banal and uninteresting, and actually going the other way, more craft, maybe more error.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously intentional error, but maybe not intentional. Maybe that's a place that we need to go.
Well, it's interesting, that idea of exploring imperfection, right? And embracing that, because no human being is perfect. And maybe in that, seeing that, there's that feeling of, oh, this resonates, and then it may not even be on a conscious level, but it's just sort of this, I find that interesting that you're embracing that. And I completely agree. I think there's sort of like a plastic kind of what's the word, like this plastic perfect,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That is not resonating for people.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, and it's happening in all aspects of the world. But I mean, architecture. I mean, you look at the same glass tower in every city in the world now.
yeah.
You used to go, when you go to Kyoto, it's Kyoto. When you go to
Yeah.
Buenos Aires, it's that vibe and look. Now it's the same glass and steel tower everywhere, and it's hitting every industry.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with tech, period, AI, things like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think if we can reverse course and go a little bit back to craft when applicable. We do graphics and graphic arts, so I think there might be a little bit more in that. I mean, if you get to a certain architectural design, you need the door to stand up and things like that.
Of course, yeah.
But
I mean, and I think, but it's not really, I don't think we're, maybe just to clarify, maybe this is just my way of clarifying, but it's like there's an element of precision, right? Which is different than precision in design, excellence in design, which is different than perfect, right? And perfect being also same
Right.
across, right? So it's, I mean, it's a whole nother notion that we could probably spend like
Yeah.
a lot of time
Yeah.
talking about. But
Absolutely.
I think it's interesting because even in craft, even if it's there's the aspect of imperfection because it's handmade, there's still a level of excellence and precision and quality that is there that is actually missing from perfect,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to I kind of just came into my thought. I was, it's interesting. We're talking about this whole physical world, handmade, touched, um, like from the heart kind of
Mm.
craft and art
Mm.
and design, because a lot of what you do actually, and I wanted to talk about actually some of this idea of how exploring like technology as a humanizing force,
Mm.
especially with this new software that you've developed.
Yes.
Can you share a bit about that
Sure.
with our
Sure.
listeners
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
maybe start with like what is haptic technology and what I
Sure.
don't think that most people even know what that is.
Sure. 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 So yeah, so this came to me quite a few years ago. We've been working on it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the technology is there. We are in the process of speaking with lots of different brands
Mm-hmm.
on it. So haptic technology itself essentially has a actuator, a physical element. Our phones have it. Other objects now have it. Some steering wheels have it,
Mm-hmm.
and it essentially shakes. So it vibrates.
Yeah.
And so what we've done, background in wayfinding, looking at tech, liking them together. Essentially, we've created a new software, a new company that we take information.
Mm-hmm.
We've created a new language,
Mm-hmm.
and then that communicates to the haptic actuators, responders to vibrate. So, example, scooters
Yeah.
currently don't have haptics, and so we're talking to a major company and to make your decisions. So instead of pulling your phone out of wherever you're trying to get to, it vibrates. It tells you to turn around, you've arrived, left, right, things such as that.
That's so cool. Like, so
So
you're taking, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, you're taking this like haptic technology of the vibrations, incorporating that into the vehicle as such
correct,
to help make it feel like an intuitive navigational experience.
correct, correct.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So the start is navigation, given the background,
Mm-hmm.
and so we've created that technology, and so this can be for scooters, bicycles, helmets, walking stick for people with sight impairment. So essentially, anyone that's going anywhere can have this tech, and they don't have to look at a screen, they don't have to listen to anything, and they don't have to see anything. The other beauty with this technology is that there is only the language of touch that you have to learn. Yes, that has to be something learned, but this can apply to anywhere. So if you're in Tokyo, if you're back in Buenos Aires, wherever you are, and you don't speak that language, it's okay, because all of this is tapping your direction, left, right, you've arrived, anything complex. So you can now travel the world and find your way.
That's, I'm just like processing everything you just shared because that's amazing. You've somehow taken this very, I don't know if you want to call it two-dimensional, only like visual sense oriented way of navigating and or like kind of helping people to fully like embody it in a way.
Mm.
Is that, do you think, is that a correct statement?
Well, what's interesting about it is that it so when we say we are reading a traffic signal and we're reading if it's red, there's obviously science behind color theory of why it's red, yellow, and green. our minds, our eye to our mind is fastest in yellow, and that's why the yellow is yellow and red, etc. And that's why that exists, and that's fine. But there's a process time. But also, if I say when you leave here, you'll go up Mulholland, you take a right, right?
Yeah.
And then your brain has to process this. Okay, so I go left, I go right. That's all brain, eyes. So this technology is just touch. If I touch your right shoulder, you know it's right.
Yeah.
There's no process of like, oh, when I go here, then it's right. And you have to think, or if you have to visually look at a sign to understand. You're at a hospital, you don't know where you're going. This is just touching you. So it removes so much unknown. It removes so much of things that you don't need, and it goes really back to the human and touch. It's pretty great.
That's amazing. I mean, even for myself, when somebody gives me a direction, I have to repeat it. Okay, go straight to the left and then to the right. First door on the right. You know, I have to repeat it. And then as I'm walking, straight to the right and then first door on the right. You know, and I end up telling myself this. And I mean, maybe others don't have that experience, but for me, but I completely hear what you're saying, because now it just feels like urban city centers are so hectic and crazy. You know, there's like the cars zipping by, like, you know, buses, whatever it may be. Like, there's so much stimulation that, and sometimes I'm even like, wait, which way is this? You know, it says to make a right at the street. Like, where do I even go? Am I making a left or a right to get to that street? You know, and
well, just play through your mind the last airport trip you took.
yes,
it's chaos. I mean, there's great systems and they're all 100% visual, but it's always chaos, absolute chaos, and the gate changes and this is global. This is, I mean, the whole world has lots of very complicated airports. So yeah, we think this can be. And so first phase is navigation.
Yeah.
Next phase is it can be entertainment. It can be sports. How people learn how to throw a ball, how to hit a ball.
Oh, like when you release, like it might like pulse and tell you like that's the moment that optimizes like the force of a throw or something.
Yeah, because if I just say move your arm left, right, up, down, means nothing in space.
Yeah.
Because you can't understand space without a touch. Golf is all touch.
I'm so, you know, when I was preparing for this conversation, I was really like fascinated by this idea of like the haptics and touch. But what you're saying is so true. Like, we don't understand when you're saying something like, when you're throwing it in the air, this is when you're going to release. Like, to have somebody explain it to you versus viscerally experiencing that in your body for the moment of when the release happens is a totally different coaching and learning experience.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, and it's so intuitive. You know, what you're talking about is really like what you said. We were born craving touch, right? That touch is how we are wired as human beings. It's so intuitive. It's like just so intuitive and so human.
And if we take a look at where we are as of 2026 and the power of the screen, what's happening with children, what's happening with even just young adults and adults, is this obsession. I mean, it's a very, very addictive object, and we're getting farther and farther away from other humans and meeting people and talking to people, having these relationships. And so if there's a way that this touch and the tech, because we're never getting away from that kind of tech, but if the touch can take away and assist, maybe that will make the world a little better.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's such an intuitive yet profound thought in today's day. But what I love is that rather than shrinking back from technology, right, in your world of that you were, you know, especially like your Cranbrook kind of foundation, right, which is art and design and human touch and human craftsmanship, right? Rather than pulling away from technology. I think it's so, um, it's just so profound that you've decided or you've seen how to bring these two worlds together in a way that can make it feel more human using technology and um,
Trying.
trying. Yeah, but it's, I mean, just that the idea would even occur to you to, you know,
Yeah.
you saw the opportunity in the technology and you're tapping into how and where the world's going with tech. And are you guys incorporating this technology even in the work that you're doing at Found?
Oh, not at this time. No, no,
Okay.
it's a separate venture completely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the clients that we were going after are very, very large scale global scooter companies,
Okay.
automotive companies, things like that. So
Okay.
yeah, very different world. Um, there might be some overlap in the airport world potentially,
Sure.
but I think it's still going to probably be based more around large corporations for haptics.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What are you guys doing maybe at Found if you can just kind of I'm kind of deviating a little bit from the haptics, but at Found, I know you go across all different areas of design. Are you using it- I mean, just I'm always curious what other designers are doing with AI and how you're leveraging it in your practice as a tool and
Absolutely. So you've had the hopefully fortune of joining one of our AI salons, our Found
yeah.
salon, and so
How
that
many
was
months ago was that?
probably a year ago.
Yeah, and it's changed so much
It's changed so much.
even since then.
So that was an idea I had, I think, about 7 years ago now, and so that's when it started. And it's
Hmm.
probably been maybe one a year, minus a few for COVID.
Yeah.
But that was also very, very early on with my mission statement for Found, which is now 8 years old,
Yeah.
was kind of a groundworks for the next 20 years.
Hmm.
So I was using AI very, very early. Had some advanced copies of OpenAI's tech,
Hmm.
and different kind of autonomous. Haptics came many, many years later, but
Hmm.
that mission statement still holds true
Yeah.
of kind of where I'd go. So yes, we definitely use a lot of AI and maybe even more recently,
Hmm.
even on a recent project. I think it really pushes us as a tool.
Yeah.
It's not replacing anyone.
Yeah.
It's just only enhancing and helping us, and it's been pretty incredible
Hmm.
to continue to push, and it helps us write. It helps us essentially create new ideas and concepts
Yeah.
that don't exist, and then we push that through, and we push and we push, and we end up in a place so far away that we love.
Yeah.
We love because I think everyone has a Pinterest board,
Yeah.
and they say this is what we want,
Yeah.
or and so we're regurgitating the same. And so what we try to do, and we're pushing more into this craft, is interesting enough using AI to make more interesting things when most people are saying it's kind of downgrading. I think it depends on how you use it as a tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well, and I think the recurring kind of conversations I keep hearing is it's all about the prompt, right? And how you're using it. So that rather than letting it do your creative thinking, you're inputting
Yes, yes,
your
yes.
idea, letting it quickly ideate for or execute the ideation of it,
Yes.
right? And then seeing we like it, we don't, oh, this is garbage. And then you're able to then ideate something else or build off of that. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Okay.
So generally what I hear is the same thing. Oh, it's just garbage, and
Yeah.
it's too this, it's too that. So what I'm finding is that 5, 10%, 20% of the errors,
Yeah.
that's totally wrong,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Like I recently just said, make a very large number 2 out of acrylic
Mm-hmm.
for a sign, a level of the elevator.
Yeah.
And it made the most insane thing you could ever imagine. And there was this
Insane
little
good or insane bad?
bad, all
Uh-huh.
terrible. And so if you said, oh, that's what we do, no, it's absolutely terrible. But this 5% on this back end thing was amazing. That I've never seen. It's never been built. It's never been designed because this thing doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah.
And so then we took that and we created something else. And then we pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And then we ended up in this amazing place because I found that 5% in there.
What I really appreciate about what you're saying is that you're not giving over your creative agency to the AI, right? You have all these years of experience, all this kind of your own intellectual property of, kind of creative thoughts. Like there's like a thought pattern that's happening, and then somehow it takes you down this rabbit hole. But that happens even if it's just like we're ideating together, right? You're in a conference room and everyone's in this like ideation phase, brainstorming, and there's literally like 100 bad ideas among the 2 that's good.
Yeah.
Right. And then you eventually take those 2 ideas and then you sort of, explore it a bit more. But basically the concept of that happening in real time is essentially the way that you and your teams are all using AI. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a tool for sure. It's not solving anything for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it might even take us back some steps. But in those steps, we're finding these just amazing nuggets that then push us so much farther than looking at the next Pinterest board.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think even the Pinterest board is like a regurgitation of other people's AIs that, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of saw that already, and now I've seen that like 100 times.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then have you explored how like AI and haptics might merge together at all, or have you thought about any of that?
It will definitely be in there in some of these, the early phases of funding.
Yeah.
If you don't have AI, they're not interested. And so that's kind of where we are right now. Lots of investments in that. We have not done that, but yes, it will have to 100%.
Okay.
So we have, as I said, phase 1, phase 2 might be entertainment, it might be sports. The next could potentially get into medical and how it could help in surgeries and things like that, of being able to have a haptic touch and a feel in that. So there's a world there for sure that needs touch.
Yeah.
As you're doing different kinds of things. And then with that, yeah, there would be, probably huge back end of AI to help input that. And then the language we'd create would sit on top. So yes, for sure, we're just trying to get this first phase off the ground and then we look to others. But yeah, it would. There's too much in there. There's too much good data to not extract from.
Yeah. And as we talk about the technology side, I do want to go back to kind of where we talk about like beauty and art, artisanal kinds of that, bringing that into the high tech world as you're doing, which just being who you are and your background, I'm sure that those are all going to come together. It's not just about the haptic technology.
Yeah.
Do you maybe just from your personal opinion, can you share why you think that the beauty and the art is still so important as I might call it a functional requirement, right? Versus just as a decorative add-on.
Right.
In the kind of work that you're doing.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's, I think it definitely depends on the project and the client. I mean, some just need some good wayfinding, and that's that. And we make it
go
good.
Left, go right.
Yeah, and we make it nice, and that's that. There's some that we come in and they want us to really create a story. Sometimes that story is very, pragmatic and very clean, and the story just needs to be said. Sometimes it's the opposite. It's extremely abstract, and maybe we push really, really hard on the beauty side. So
yeah,
I guess for Found, we really just look at what, I mean, from the work, you see there's nothing that's replicated or the same. You know, we are a consultant. We don't have a look. There's a few architects, I won't name their names, that I just really appreciate that they have a very different look. Could be the same for some fashion designers that I love, that you can't really tell. You can kind of somewhat tell, but that each project's different.
Yeah.
I think we pride ourselves on that, and so we look at each project and give what the project needs.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the beauty. Yeah, I think that's just kind of inherent, as you're talking about Bartholdi. It's just in the DNA.
Yeah.
Try to, you know, push the beauty no matter what.
Yeah.
As much as we can. I mean, obviously there can be beauty in really clean graphic design.
Sure.
You know, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think beauty always just kind of has to be there.
Yeah, I agree. I did want to ask you, you know, you and I, we were also part of, you know, this board of advisors that was developing, you know, kind of a new curriculum or a strategy for what future of design education could look like.
Yes.
Where are you seeing, because I think you have such a strong pulse on like this integrated world, right? Like, I mean, and I know, and you know, it's not new news to say that cross-pollination of different kinds of creatives, different industries, different, you know, like you're doing technology and what would have been traditional signage wayfinding, right? That's like where this like kind of this innovation is occurring. What do you think needs to be just the mindset of educators and even like the new generation of designers that are kind of coming up
Right.
in this, you know, I mean, and the world is changing so fast too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was an honor to be a part of that program and being there with you and a few other really brilliant people. That was very that was fantastic. And yes, my perspective input was yes, being very active in the design world, being active in the tech world, and then obviously the history of Cranbrook.
Yeah.
Was a big role. I think you know, the person leading that also went to Cranbrook, so we had some kind of core there. And then where are we in 2026? And I thought what was created was pretty incredible, groundbreaking.
Yeah.
I would say if that comes out to the world, it'll be a better place.
Yeah.
I know it really was pushing some boundaries, and then it's not. All schools aren't ready for all of that, and I don't think that the world is totally ready, but I do think it's needed.
Yeah.
And looking at, you know, my practical, this is going back many years now, was just graphic design.
Yeah.
And that was it, and it was great. And then now Cranbrook was a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a table, a chair, and a studio, and that was it. There was no classes. There was no grades. There was just you create your world.
Yeah.
And so that was also very very different. But again, it came back to just, you know, kind of learning things. And I think today we have to know so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what design schools need to fill in. We need ethics. We need empathy. We need how to run a business, how to talk to people, how to pitch your ideas. I mean, it is a very complicated world. We need to know more about the environment. We need to know about the materials you're using. I mean, even in my early graphic days, I didn't know anything about anything that we were building because it wasn't really taught. Yeah. And it's just too important now, you know, the waste of the things that we make, especially in, say, fashion. Yeah. And so I think design schools have to step up kind of tenfold to create designers of the future. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting what you're saying because you just mentioned fashion, and it's very interesting because your background is I mean, it started out in graphics, but you went into fashion. I mean, you were doing leather goods, weren't you?
Yes.
And then now you're in signage, wayfinding, graphics, environmental design, technology, and developing a software technology on that on top of that. It's like a SaaS technology, right?
Yes.
And so it's just very interesting to me. It's not just a thing, even as in your own career, what I'm, really seeing is this evolution across multiple different kinds of disciplines, similarly all connected in that they're about, you know, related to design and serving humanity in that way, right? But you're right. I totally agree. I think that designers of the future almost kind of need to be like that too, right?
Absolutely.
An expert
Absolutely.
in some specific niche in science,
Yeah. Absolutely.
business, leadership,
Yeah.
and what do they call it? A polymath? I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
Like being kind of well informed in all kinds of various different disciplines or areas that, that may be of a particular specialty or niche.
I think, yeah. And so a throwback to what we're actually sitting on, the Eames chairs.
Yeah.
So the Eames went to Cranbrook and they came out here and changed the world. And obviously, because of my Cranbrook time, I've been huge fans. But also, they came out of the design department in Cranbrook, and it was about learning everything. They did film, they did graphics, they did furniture, they did everything, right? Yeah. And they kind of started, and then after that, it was like, if you're a good designer, you should be able to design everything. If it's chairs, if it's glassware, if it's a watch.
Yeah.
And so I had that. I won't say, I'm an expert in all that. Yes, I've dipped my toes in a lot of different things, but I think having, Virgil, I think said this at some point in his career, of having just multiple projects at one time.
Yeah.
So if you have a little bit of this, you have a little haptics, you have a little, fashion, it really helps kind of cross understand and for, say, the fundraising and the haptics, the tech side. Well, then how does that relate to my install of a tech company over here and how they're operating? And so understanding all that and that kind of horizontal and vertical movement of business and design, I think is something that I probably learned at Cranbrook.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in.
Yeah. And what I find very fascinating with your and interesting with your story is you're even going back to like how the haptics came about, or even how you found, right? Why you created the company is because you saw there was like a gap in the market. You saw that there was technology was moving a certain way, and you connected these dots to be like in this really cool niche space, working with all kinds of different designers, architects, landscape people, or,
Right.
product designers, software developers.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's really cool to, and I think that's, and I appreciate you kind of sharing that part of your background, because I think, probably, and it's just a guess, but I would say you didn't ever even think that haptics was going to be part of your life when you first started in graphic design.
No, not at all. Not even close.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was just talking to my parents the other day, maybe it was yesterday, and said they were saying, where they obviously are my parents, so they've watched my career, and
Yeah.
you started here, and then you went here, and then you went here, and he said it just yesterday, I think. He said, well, but now you have many more years, and where that story is going to go. So it's true, and how much tech is changing, I don't know, but it's a little bit too of where we are in this world. I think people have many jobs, not even just jobs, but many careers, and I think just I think one of the things that came out of our school creation was making sure that you're extremely flexible, extremely adaptable
Yeah,
to
definitely.
change. I
Yeah.
mean, they're saying now for sure, anyone that's born now, the job doesn't exist. And that started happening, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And so pivoting, understanding a lot of different things, I think is going to be critical for not just designers, but anyone in school.
This is totally an off the cuff question here, but like, what do you think has helped you to be able to be so fluid and be able to adapt and pivot?
Any entrepreneur will say risk.
Hmm.
Keep risking. Because
Yeah.
if you stay in the same lane, it's one of my biggest fears, is staying in the same lane, in the same work, in the same, scared to death. Because we'll fail. I'll fail.
Yeah.
If you're not adapting, learning, changing, moving, you'll fail. Because this isn't 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Where you could have a company and you could, it just doesn't. It's just
Yeah.
we're not in that world anymore.
The 40 years at one company days are definitely no more.
Yeah. And so for me, just knowing that, and it's only going to accelerate even faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
I mean, AI could literally take 90% of the jobs within X amount of years. So if you process that, I can't have my same company.
Yeah.
Or companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the core, is adapt as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And keep changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have really enjoyed this conversation, and I think I hope this conversation sparks all kinds of, I don't even want to say debates, but just like a deeper thinking about, some of like for a lot of the creatives who are listening,
Absolutely.
about, just where and how they want to grow and adapt to this world. But just to wrap it up, I like to wrap up with like a rapid fire question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And, there's no wrong answer. It's just
Yeah.
your own perspectives.
Okay.
What is one thing you still feel like you're a beginner at?
I'm a beginner at?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to that last, if this is a rapid question, rapid answer, the last thing, everything. I still will approach a project with very, very, very young eyes. I'll take the 20 plus years of all that and just know it intuitively. We talk a little bit about intuitive design, and then just fresh eyes and come at it.
I love that, because that childlike curiosity is such a, like, it's a lost thing on us adults,
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. What do you think humans are forgetting how to do?
Talk to each other.
Oh, so true.
Just period. Now that starts to age me for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think people still need to talk to each other. I think tech's great.
Yeah.
But I think people forgot to talk to each other.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I appreciate being able to, we live in the same geographic, like couple hours back and forth of difference, but it's still close enough that I wanted to meet in person, because there is a different energy and kind of a flow in conversation when you meet in person, right? Like versus just, anyway, we'll leave it at that. What do you hope never gets automated?
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic question. Never to get automated. Well, I think the question is, everything will be automated.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe that was your question. What of those things? I don't have an answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I guess my mind has been that everything's automated. So I guess I hadn't thought that something wouldn't be. I assume everything will be. So I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
All right. Well, and from your perspective, what does crafting human mean?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's been fantastic. Love what you're doing. Love the idea, and hence, why I'm here. In being a designer, creating stuff. So we create things, for the world. That's what designers do. And so, yeah, if like with an artist per se, or a designer, they're putting their craft into it, and so even the worst of design is crafted human work,
Yeah.
But I guess from my perspective of caring who you're giving it to, and who it's for, and really investing that time, because some
Yeah.
of these things are temporary, some of these things are very permanent.
Yeah.
The work that we do, and so yeah, I would say just for the creatives, put as much as you can into your work.
Yeah. The care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the craft, because so much of it is disappearing. So yeah.
Well, I would definitely say that you are a very innovative and creative individual. And I hope this conversation inspires many others who are trying to figure out a way to build a bridge between tradition and innovation and still preserve that sense of humanity, in
Absolutely.
all of that, and maybe cultivate a
Absolutely.
new depth of how we experience our humanity.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to join our creative tribe. Follow, like, and subscribe to help this community grow. Your support helps me to tell the stories of the creatives who bring soul to our world and create meaningful experiences. Thank you for being here and keeping the circle of creativity alive and connected. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you.